Good day. How are you on this lovely sunny day? Well, maybe it's not so sunny. We are going to start a series about Ruth. Now, Ruth was in the Old Testament, and there are 4 books of Ruth. So each of the next 4 weeks, we're going to talk about a different chapter of Ruth. I wonder what you think about that, Cedric?
I think it's a good idea.
You think it's a good idea? That's brilliant if you think it's a good idea, because that's what we're going to do anyway. Are you up for listening to stories?
I love stories. I want to know all about Ruth.
Cedric, before we do that, have you been to Messy Church this week?
Yeah, I had an amazing time at Messy Church. We did a whole load of stuff about the sword of the Spirit and sung a song, and we did some craft activities and all sorts of things.
I think we're getting mixed up between our voices here. Anyway, Cedric, if you just sit down there and then we can start to tell the story of Ruth, if that's okay. So I just put you down there.
That's okay.
So that's good, because normally he's horrible to me. So let me just say, what we've got is that there was a guy called Elimelech and his wife, who was Naomi. These are the two. And they also had 2 sons. Now the 2 sons and the mum and dad, they had to travel from Bethlehem, because there was no food there, or not much food there, to Moab. And they travelled on a long journey to there, and they settled in that land, and the people welcomed them, which was really amazing. But unfortunately what happened was the dad died. So he died and he was no longer around. And the 2 sons married 2 other women. There was Ruth, one married Ruth, and one married Orpah. And Orpah is here, and they lived together for some time. But then unfortunately what happened was the 2 sons died. Oh no, both sons were no longer there. And so it was Naomi and her 2 daughters-in-law. Anyway, Naomi found out that in Bethlehem there were food. So she thought, okay, I'll go back to my own people in Bethlehem. And she started on the journey, and the 2 daughters-in-law went with her. When she was a little way on her way, she turned to the daughters-in-law and said, you go back to your own land, because it will be safer for you there, and you'll be able to marry some other men. I've got not much prospects in Bethlehem, so you go back. And Orpah decided that she would go back. But Naomi said, no, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back to there. I'm going to come with you. Where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die. And she travelled on that journey. So Ruth and Naomi travelled on that journey back to Bethlehem. And when they got there, there was the barley harvest. And that was the end of the story for today. But you can listen to the story again when they read the Bible story a bit later in different parts, and when Asif speaks about it as well. And what I want you to do is count how many times they talk about Ruth's mother-in-law, and tell me what her name is. So what's Ruth's mother-in-law's name, and how many times is she mentioned in that first chapter? Also, how many times does it mention Ruth in that first chapter? And also, another question, where did they come from and where did they go to? And where did they then go back to? So it's the same place as they came from in the first place. So those 2 different places. And the final question is, what harvest was taking place when they got back to Bethlehem? Now that is the questions that you need to think about. So, Cedric, what did you think about all that?
It's a good start of a story, but I'm anxious to wait to hear what happens next.
Well, yeah, you'll have to wait until next week to find out what happens next. Or you could read the whole Book of Ruth, I suppose. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely week, everybody, and enjoy the sunshine or the rain. We need the rain, don't we? In fact, they probably needed the rain in Bethlehem so they could get the harvest. And I also wonder what it's like to have to go to a different place. When you have to move from your own land like a refugee to another place. Do people welcome you? Are you accepted in that place? It must be really difficult. Something to wonder about this week. God bless you.